most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And as Muslims. What's up, YouTube fam? It's me, K Steps, and I'm back with another episode of Undiluted TV. The reason why you guys haven't heard from me and I haven't uploaded anything is because my channel got a strike. Yeah, my channel got a strike for hate speech because of the video that I did giving my commentary about Congresswoman Katie Hill and her Iron Cross Nazi tattoo. And because of that, they took the video down and they gave my channel a strike for hate speech. Yeah, hate speech. When all I was doing was giving my commentary and my point of view on a story that was in mainstream media. We got a strike, and with the first strike, you can't upload for 7 days. So that's the reason why you guys haven't heard from me. That's the reason why I haven't uploaded anything, is because I was penalized for giving my commentary and for giving my opinion on a very widely broadcast story that was already in the mainstream media. So all of this had already been talked about. It was already out there. It had already been put out there by mainstream media, but we got a strike for hate speech. So that's the kind of stuff that YouTube is on. You know, as you all know, they took down Jason Black, the Black channel. They took down his channel. They terminated his channel, and because, you know, Professor Black Truth asked everybody to go and you know, protest. We wouldn't protest, and yes, his channel got put back up. But when they put his channel back up, they demonetized his channel. He can no longer receive donations in the super chat, and they also took down the video that he had done on Congresswoman Katie Hill. They took down the video that he did, you know, outing her and talking about the Iron Cross and, yeah, the Nazi symbol and all of that. So YouTube is really on it. They are really on it. We get cited for hate speech and bullying and harassment and that kind of foolishness, and all of these white supremacist racist YouTubers are out here, you know, hollering nigger every day and, you know, putting up all kind of hate speech and all kind of propaganda, and they're allowed to do it. But, you know, we just gonna keep on. We gonna keep on keeping on, and we gonna keep it moving. But I just wanted to let y'all know that that's the reason why you haven't seen me. You haven't heard from me. That's the reason why I haven't uploaded anything. But what you just heard was Malcolm X. It was a speech that Malcolm X did. I believe it was in 1962. I believe he did that speech in 1962, referring to the state of black women in America. And let me let you hear it again, just for clarity, so you'll get it real good. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And as Muslims, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to respect our women and to protect our women. Then the only time a Muslim really gets real violent is when someone goes to molest his woman. We will kill you for our woman. Yeah, that was a speech that he did. It was an excerpt from a speech that he did in May the 22nd, 1962, in Los Angeles to a crowd of black Americans. This was the speech where in the speech he asked, who taught you to hate the color of your skin? Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? And I got this article from, this is from Yahoo News, and it dates back to 2016, April 23rd, 2016, and it was actually it was actually, they wanted to talk about it and bring it into how Beyonce had referenced this quote from Malcolm X in her Lemonade uh, album. When she did the whole Lemonade, what do you call it? What did they call it? It wasn't. It was a. I can't think of what they called it, but when she came out with Lemonade, and it says Malcolm X comments on women end with him making sure black men protect black women. While they may have been okay to say it in the 1960s, it's pretty clear from Lemonade that Beyonce needs no one to protect her. So yeah, this was tying in what Malcolm X had to say to how Beyonce sampled it in Lemonade. However, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because I'm sure you've seen in the thumbnail and the title of the video. We need to talk about these 75,000 black women and girls that are missing in America. We need to talk about that because there are not enough people talking about it. Nobody's really talking about it. Mainstream media is definitely not talking about it. But we definitely need to talk about that. We need to have a conversation about the 75,000, the estimated 75,000 black women and girls that are missing in America. And we need to talk about the probability of what's happening to them and why it's so many black women and young black girls. Um, in Afro, the Black Media Authority, that's what it says. It says, our black women and girls have gone missing, but few seem to care. And this was by NNPA Newswire correspondent, and this was February 17, 2019. And see, as you see, this is not mainstream media. I have yet to see anything from CNN, MSNBC, ABC, any of mainstream media talking about these 75,000 missing black women and girls. Anyway, it goes on to say, first of all, it lists some of the girls who are missing. Victoria Shaw, a black girl approximately 15 years old, went missing Monday, February the 11th in West Hartford, Connecticut. Tianda Slater, black and also only 15 years old, was reported missing on Thursday, February the 7th from Noble Square in Chicago. Ariel Merkinson, a 16-year-old black girl, was last seen near the 200 block of West 111th Place, according to a community alert from Chicago police. The three are the most recent to make the dubious and heartbreaking list of missing black girls, particularly teens. It's a list that's quite long, and there remains no update on their status. Recently, the nonprofit Black and Missing Foundation compiled statistics from the FBI, which noted that in 2016 alone, 242,295 individuals of color were reported missing in the United States. A stunning 36.7% of those missing were black teens under the age of 18. In total, statistics show more than 75,000 young black Americans are currently missing. What's more, officials at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's cyber tip line said they've received more than 18.4 million reports, most of which led to apparent child sexual abuse images, online enticement, including sextortion, child sex trafficking, and child sexual molestation. Those statistics and the seeming lack of media interest have led to cries of racism and neglect, particularly when it comes to black girls. It has also led Latasha D. Mays to pen the essay, Why the Crisis of Missing Black Girls Needs More Attention Than It's Getting. Mays' March 2017 essay was published at ebony.com, where she noted that an academic study analyzed news coverage of missing children and found that only 20% of reported stories focused on missing black children. This despite the fact that black children account for 33% of total missing children cases. In other words, missing black youth are grossly underreported in the news. For missing girls, it's even worse. When black girls go missing, far too many people don't know or don't care, Mays wrote. Many argue that the stories of young black girls and women who are missing don't get the same degree of local, national, or global attention as that of an Elizabeth Smart or Natalee Holloway. And I know that for a fact because I remember all the reporting and all the news stories and all of that about Elizabeth Smart and Natalee Holloway. Smart, a 14-year-old white girl, was kidnapped in 2002 from her home in Salt Lake City, Utah. After an intense search that included relentless media coverage, it sure did, Smart was rescued by police 9 months later, and among other activities, she's become an analyst for ABC News. Holloway disappeared in 2005 while on a high school graduation trip in Aruba. The white Alabama teen's story drew global media coverage, and although her remains were never found, she was declared dead in 2010. Many maintain that African Americans aren't afforded the intense police investigations or the media coverage given to whites that go missing. Black girls are magical and should be noticed, uplifted, and acknowledged both within and outside of the black community, said Ginger Lavender Wilkerson, a licensed marriage and family therapist in Los Angeles. To recognize black girls as magical means defining them as precious, unique, and valued. When society recognizes their worth and value, I believe that more attention will be paid to this matter. In addition, it will call for all people to recognize this as an epidemic and calls for action. And the story goes on to cite some more people, that were talking about the gross neglect that black women and black girls are getting as far as media coverage. And this 75,000, I mean 75,000 black women and girls are missing in America. This is not globally. That's not a global number. That's in America. 75,000 black women and girls. And come on, y'all. Let's be real. Sex trafficking is big business in the United States. It's big business. It's big business globally. It takes in globally over $1 billion a year. Well over $100 billion a year. Globally. And you know, to think that all of these black women and young girls can just go missing and can just disappear, and nobody knows anything about their whereabouts. Nobody knows anything about where they are. With all the talk about sex trafficking that's going on right now, come on, let's be real. And it's time for us to show up our borders, and it's time for us in the black community to start looking out for each other and protecting each other. We've got to do better than this. We've got to do better than just, black women and black girls just going missing. But Malcolm X in this speech tells you the reason why. He tells you the reason why there's not any media coverage. He tells you the reason why nobody's talking about it. He tells you the reason why it seems like nobody cares. He's telling you the reason why. The reason why is because the black woman is, and I'm getting ready to quote him, the black woman is the most disrespected, most unprotected, and most neglected person in America. That's the black woman. She is the most disrespected, the most unprotected, and the most neglected person in America. So let's break that down. Let's break that down in those three areas that he talked about. Let's first talk about the most disrespected person in America. Okay, well, she's been disrespected the black woman since we were brought here on slave ships. And it's not to say that she wasn't that the black man wasn't disrespected. He was, but the black man had to be broken. The black man had to be buck broken. Why? Because the black man had that warrior spirit. He had that warrior mind, that warrior training, that kingship spirit. And he had to be broken. And the reason why he had to be broken was to make the black woman even more vulnerable. Because once you break the black man, you break her protection. You break her protector, her provider. And that makes her even more vulnerable. Now, she was already vulnerable because she was a woman. And she was a black woman. And the only defense that she had was the black man. Okay, now you have dominated and you have broken and you have enslaved the black man. So now her only line of defense is gone. So she was disrespected. She was disrespected in having to watch her man broken. She was disrespected in being raped, being mutilated. She was disrespected in having to watch her family separated, her children snatched away from her and sold into slavery. She was just disrespected in every way. And then as the years went on, she continued to be disrespected. Look how her own man disrespects her now. Look at how black men disrespect black women. And we're not going to get into, I'm sorry, but we're not going to get into how she disrespects herself. The reason why she disrespects herself is because she's never, at least over the last 400 plus years, she hasn't been taught to love herself. She hasn't seen any reason to love herself. Because she has been taught that she's just, how do I put it? I don't know if tool is the right word, but she's been taught that her body, her sexuality, her blackness is just a way to get something that she wants. But she's not been taught to value herself. She's not been taught to value herself and to respect herself as a woman, as a queen, as the original woman. So just like the black man is broken and he is now trying to recover and trying to rebuild himself and trying to become that protector and that provider again, so is the black woman. She's been broken as well. She's been broken. She's been left out here alone. She's been left out here alone to defend herself, to fend for herself. Why? Because that's what racism and white supremacy meant to do. Racism and white supremacy meant to, it has constantly, since slavery, it has constantly worked to separate the black man and the black woman. And when the black man and the black woman were trying to stick together and they were trying to band together and trying to support each other, especially during Jim Crow and right before the Civil Rights Act and right after the Civil Rights Act, well, white supremacists found another way to come in and separate the black man and the black woman. Cut the black man out of jobs, cut the black man out of economics, cut the black man out of being able to provide for his family and take care of his family. Then offer him, then lead him to this point where all he has left, or feels like he has left, or appears to have left, is a life of crime, and then you start mass incarcerating him. So you're still separating the black man from the black woman. So she's still been left out there alone to try to fend for herself the best way she knew how. And those were not always good ways. The ways that she had to learn to take care of herself and her children were not always good ways. Why? Because her protector, her provider, was constantly being broken. Constantly being forced out of the home, forced out of her life, forced away from her. There was this constant wedge that was being forged between the black man and the black woman. Why? To remove him and to leave her vulnerable, so that she would have to suffer all of these disrespects, so that she would have to be disrespected by the white man, the black man, the white woman, the black woman. She's disrespected by everybody. Listen to the music that we listen to. Listen to the music that's being promoted now. And listen to how the black woman is being disrespected. Always being disrespected. Always being called a bitch. Always being called a hoe. And yes, some of them put themselves in the position to be called that. But this is the point. The point I'm making is, because she is so disrespected, because the black woman is the most disrespected person in America, because the black woman is the most unprotected, she has no protection. And she knows she has no protection. But not only does she know she has no protection, America knows that she has no protection. And those who are involved in all of this sex trafficking and human trafficking and you know and human organ trafficking and all of this kind of stuff that's going on, they know she is the most unprotected person in America. Why? Because her man is broken. Her protection is broken. Her protection is not what it should be. It's not where it should be. So when you want to target somebody, when you want to target somebody to lead into sex trafficking, when you want to target somebody to lead into human trafficking, the human organ trafficking, killing them or whatever the case may be, getting their bodies for the melanin or whatever, when you want to do that, you're going to target the most unprotected segment of the society. You're going to target the most disrespected segment of the society. You're going to target the most neglected segment of the society. Come on, let's be real. Black men find themselves with somewhat some little position of power, and you know, and maybe a little bit of money, and maybe a little bit of influence or a little bit of clout somewhere. What do they do? The first thing they do is they'll run and marry a Becky or some non-black person. They won't marry a black woman. They certainly won't marry a black American woman and help elevate her status. Now, as long as they broke and didn't have anything, then the black woman was okay. But as soon as they came into a little bit of money, maybe a little bit of influence, maybe a little bit of power, maybe a little bit of clout, then the first thing they want to do is they want to run and they want to find something non-black to marry. So the most disrespected, the most unprotected, the most neglected person in America, the black woman, is who's being targeted the most. And that's not to say, don't get me wrong, that's not to say that other ethnic groups of people are not being targeted. That's not to say that Hispanics and Asians and you know, and some immigrants, black and otherwise, you know, aren't finding themselves in this situation, but not to the tune of 75,000 black women and girls just going missing and nobody's saying anything about it, if it was that many white women and girls, if it was that many Asian women and girls, do you not think the mainstream media would have said something by now? Do you not think the mainstream media would have called it an epidemic? Do you not think the mainstream media would have had, news reports and news stories and articles and all of this kind of stuff about it? But because it's black women and girls. And as far as society is concerned, as far as this racist, white supremacist society is concerned in America, okay, well, don't nobody care nothing about black women and black girls, no way. They're expendable. Nobody cares. Look how their black men treat them. So we know they don't care. They make it clear they don't care. They'll go against a black woman for a non-black woman any day. So they make it obvious that they don't care. Look at the kind of music that they sing. Look at the kind of music that they promote. Look at the kind of, reality TV and all of this kind of stuff that they promote. So we know they don't care. Look how black women treat each other. So we know they don't care. So they are easy to target. Nobody's going to talk about it. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to pitch a fit. Nobody's going to raise hell because the media is not talking about it. It's time for us to, it's time for us to come together on this, black folks. It's time for black Americans to come together on this. And it's time for the black man and the black woman to lay aside all of these issues that you have with each other. And you're going to have to come together and you're going to have to support each other. You're going to have to learn to respect each other. You're going to have to learn to care for each other. And you're going to have to learn to protect each other. And black men, you're going to have to get this notion out of your head that you can't respect her because she don't respect herself. You ain't got to go home with her. But when you look at her, you identify this as a black woman. She needs my protection. If you see her in a position where she needs to be protected, this is a black woman. She needs my protection. It makes no difference what she's doing. It makes no difference whether she's disrespecting herself or not. All of that makes no difference. The bottom line is, as a man in the black community, it is your job. It is your responsibility to protect, to provide. That is what men do. And all of this finding excuses for why you can't respect her or why you can't protect her or why you can't care for her, all that's got to go out the window. Because remember, at the end of the day, it was a black woman that gave birth to you. A black woman is the reason why you're here. See, it's not about, it's not about all of this, we got to love each other so much. And we just got to get along with each other all the time. And we just got to agree with each other all the time. No. We don't have to do that to do our jobs. Think about your job at work. For those of you that have a job, think about your job at work. Do you like everybody that you work with? Do you hang out with everybody that you work with? Do you go home with everybody that you love, that you work with? Or do you love everybody that you work with? But you manage to be able to sit all of whatever personal feelings you might have towards individuals at work, whether you like them or don't like them, whether you respect them or don't respect them or whatever, you're able to sit all of that aside long enough to get the job done at work. Why? Because at the end of the day, you can leave those people and you can go home. Okay, well, black men, protecting black women, respecting black women, caring for black women, that's your job. Makes no difference what personal feelings you might have. You sit those aside long enough to do your job, long enough to make sure that this sister is protected, long enough to make sure that this sister gets where she needs to go, long enough to make sure that this little girl that's walking to the bus every day by herself gets on that bus and gets off that bus like she's supposed to. It's your job. Now, does that mean that I'm saying that black women aren't responsible for now? I mean, because with 75,000 missing, we all got to wake up. We all got to wake up and pay attention and be aware and look after ourselves as well as each other. So yes, black women, it's time for y'all to get it together. It's time for you to stop being disrespectful to yourself. It's time for you to stop being disrespectful to your black men. It's time for you to stop being disrespectful to the black community at large. It's time for you to get it together. Pay attention to what's going on. Are all of this club hopping and all of this twerking and all of this doing all of this stuff that you're doing and all of this clout chasing and all of this wanting to put your pictures and everything all over Instagram and Facebook and all of that? Okay, it ain't helping none. Because out of that 75,000 that's missing, it was probably some of them with that same mentality. But it's time to understand that this stuff now is a matter of life and death. It's not playtime anymore. This is a matter of life and death when you have 75,000 black women and girls missing in America. I think it's like the 3,000-4,000 go missing every year. Might be more than that. I got to get the statistics right. But this is a matter of life and death now. You need to pay attention. You need to stop thinking that it's all about your fat ass and it's all about your weave and it's all about how good you look and all of that. And you need to stop thinking that every man that says, hey, how you doing? And every man that smiles at you and grins at you, you know, is in love with you. No, some of them are baiting you and setting you up so that they can get you involved in sex trafficking, human trafficking. So they can take you somewhere and kill you and chop you up and sell your body parts and your organs. It's time for us to educate our young women, our young girls, so that they can realize that everybody that smiles at you and everybody that hits you up online and act like that, you know, and they're going to offer you the world and all of this kind of stuff. No. Tell you to meet them off somewhere and you think you getting ready to go and you gonna live the life or you getting ready to go get a bag or whatever the case may be and folks never see you again. So while they buck breaking our men, they stealing our women. While they doing everything that they can with this new agenda to feminize and effeminate all the black men. You understand what I'm saying? And skew all the lines and blur all the lines as far as gender and sexuality is concerned. And you got all of these folks like Pharrell and Malik Yogurt and all of these other ones coming out, you know, with this new masculinity and all of this and trying to label all black men, talking about toxic masculinity and all of this. So while they're doing everything that they can to bug break the black men, so that they become weak and spineless and can't defend themselves, let's more defend anybody else. Because like I said, instead of them somewhere on the front lines fighting and protecting and defending, they too busy running around trying to worry about getting their nails done and whether they gonna break a nail and you know, with all this sissified stuff and dresses on, they got to hike up their dress to try to take off running. So while they over here breaking the black men, continuing that tradition of buck breaking the black men and effeminating all of them, they over here on the other hand stealing all the black women and the girls. While they pushing this agenda of transgender women replacing real women, real black women, the real black women and girls are just vanishing, just disappearing off the face of the earth. God knows what's happening to them. God knows what they doing to them. God knows where they waking up finding themselves. Why? Because they are the most disrespected, the most unprotected, and the most neglected people in America. That's why. So black women, all of this, he ha ha giggling and all of this, and you got your little gay boyfriend and your little gay friend and all of this, and he ha ha, and y'all giggling and girl this and girl that, and y'all going to get your nails done together, and y'all going to get your hair done together, and all of this kind of stuff. Understand that they are doing these little tests and everything where they're trying to work it out so that they can transplant uteruses and ovaries into these transgender men so that they can somehow at some point in the future cause these transgender men to actually I guess I don't know. I guess they're gonna call it giving birth or what, I don't know. And I don't want, and if they ever get it to work, I don't want to see what they give birth to. But you have no idea how important your melanin is. You have no idea how important your fertility is. You have no idea how important your blackness is. And like I said, it's not just happening to black people. But I got to center on black people because I'm a black woman with a black daughter that's 14 years old. And when there's 75,000 of us that have just disappeared, and there are no updates, nobody's doing any extensive searching, we don't have back-to-back, wall-to-wall media coverage on it, then, we need to all get together and get to wondering, okay, what's really going on? And why is nobody saying anything about it? Is it true that nobody cares? But we have got to come together as a community and look after one another. Because black men and black women are definitely under attack. Now, the attacks against black men are more obvious. You understand what I'm saying? They're more obvious. They're more out there. They're more in your face. I mean, all of this killing of black men by police officers, and all of this mass incarceration, and all of this. Yes, the attack against black men, and trying to effeminate black men and trying to buck break them, and all of that. Yes, the attacks against black men are more obvious, but the black woman is under attack too. And a lot of her stuff, a lot of what's geared towards her, a lot of the attacks against black women have fallen under the radar. 75,000 black women and girls just gone missing. Poof, just gone. Nobody's reporting it. Nobody's talking about it. There are no articles in any newspapers about it. No online magazines talking about it. No mainstream media coverage of it. But see, as long as us in the black community continue to support the rappers and the people in the music industry and all of that, they keep promoting all of this garbage that's disrespecting not only women, but disrespecting the black community as a whole, but especially the black women. As long as black women see, exposing themselves and using it and using their sexuality and all of this as a way to get a bag or as a way to get a come up or whatever, as long as all of this mentality continues to go on, then we will continue to be the most disrespected, the most unprotected, and the most neglected. We will continue to be the most disrespected, unprotected, and neglected people, period, in America. We need to get back to them morals that the black community had prior to integration, prior to 1964, 1965. We need to get back to those morals when we were separate. Those morals we had in the black community. Just anything didn't go back then. There were certain things that you knew you just couldn't do, that you knew just were not going to be accepted in the black community. Black people looked after each other. Excuse me. Black people looked after each other in the community. They looked after each other's children. If you had to go to the grocery store, or you had to go and run an errand, or take care of something, and all the kids were outside, in the street playing ball, or in the yard, playing dodgeball or doing whatever, then your next door neighbor would tell you, well, go ahead, I'll watch the children. And sure enough, those children were right there and watched until you got back. We looked after each other. We cared for each other. But now we're so busy trying to get the bag. We're so busy trying to get some crumbs from Massa's table until we're willing to sell each other out. We're willing to look the other way. We're willing to promote their agendas and push all of their negative agendas in the black community. We're just willing to do all of that. And we're willing to see 75,000 black women and girls just disappear. And nobody's asking any questions. Nobody's demanding any answers. Nobody's demanding to know, okay, why are you not talking about this on mainstream media? Just like that brother that Tyrone, I can't think of his last name, the one that went to the Asian nail salon with the bricks and busted out all the windows. And the next day, the black women was right back in there, you know what I'm saying, sitting up there getting their nails done with all the windows and everything boarded up. This is the thing. Even though those women didn't appreciate what he had done, there are black women who appreciated what that brother had did. What that brother did for us. We appreciate it. We appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. And see, even though he probably knew that he wasn't going to be able to stop all the black women from going to get their nails done, or going into it was another incident where they were at a beauty supply, and the Asian man jumped on the black woman or something, and then everybody stopped going, and then he had a sale, and there was a line all down down the block. Even though black men understand we can't get to everybody. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody is not ready. Everybody is not ready to make that leap. Everybody's not ready to make the turn. Everybody's not ready to be about black empowerment, truly about black empowerment. But what they understood was they had a job to do. They had a responsibility and an obligation. You understand what I'm saying? Not to any one particular black woman, but to black women in general. To the black women that reminded them of their mothers, or the black women that reminded them of their sisters, or the black women that remind them of their wives or girlfriends, or nieces, or whatever. They understood that they had an obligation to black women in general, to black women as a whole, to stand up and protect and say, enough of this, no more. See, they set aside their personal feelings. They set aside their personal need for validation or their personal need to be recognized or appreciated or applauded or whatever by any one particular black woman or any particular black women, and realize this is something that I got to do for the sisters as a whole. Because somebody out there gonna appreciate it. Somebody out there is gonna open their eyes. Somebody out there, I might not be able to stop all of them, but if I can stop one or two, then eventually it'll catch on. So black men understand. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care if you I don't care if you are as gay as a $2 bill. I don't care if you a man loving men when you wake up, loving men for lunch, loving men for dinner, and loving men when you go to bed. It makes no difference. You are still a man, and you are still a black man. And there is some black woman out there that needs your protection. She needs your protection. She needs your respect. She needs your care. Black women, we have got to support black men. We've got to understand that yes, they are broken and they are trying. They are trying to heal, and we've got to help them heal. We've got to help each other heal. Because not only has a lot of physical harm been done to the black community in America, to foundational black Americans, not only has a lot of physical harm, but there's a lot of psychological harm that has been done to us. And we are very dysfunctional. But we're going to have to help each other heal. We're going to have to come together and we're going to have to help each other heal. 75,000 black girls and black women have just disappeared. And this is a conversation that we need to be having. This is a conversation that, we need to be making some demands. But more than that, we've got to show it together. We've got to show up our defenses. Because they're letting it be known in America, we can just snatch you off the street. Not only are they letting it be known that they can just walk up to a black man and blow his brains out or whatever and don't have to worry about any kind of repercussions, don't have to worry about any kind of punishment or anything like that. They're also letting it be known we can just snatch your women and your girls off the street, your women and your babies off the street. And while you out here running around behind Becky's and all of that, and while you out here running behind the bag and running behind, whatever crumbs you think you can get from the master off the master's table, and you willing to do his bidding, and you willing to sing whatever he wants you to sing, and you willing to, perform whatever he wants you to perform and say whatever he wants you to say or whatever. He letting you know while you running around doing all of that and don't have your eyes on your women and your children, we're just snatching them away. Black women, stop being so hungry for attention. Stop acting like you live and breathe for attention. All attention ain't good attention. And I can guarantee you, maybe not all, maybe even not most, but a lot of that 75,000 got caught up seeking attention, seeking the wrong kind of attention from the wrong places. But we got to do better. We got to do better. 75,000. And it's not being talked about in mainstream media. Nobody's mentioning it. Nobody's, like I said, nobody's doing any reports on it, any articles on it, or anything. And they have targeted black women because we're just... We have no protection. We are the most disrespected. We are the easiest for folks to cast aside. We are the most unprotected. We are the most neglected, the most uncared for people in America. So we need our warriors to stand up. For years, black men, we had to carry the load. For years, we had to shoulder the burden. While y'all out finding yourselves and out running around doing whatever you was doing, you know what I'm saying, or while white supremacy and racism was, was locking you up and putting ABC stores on every corner so that can could drown your sorrows in alcohol and drugs and all of that. We were the ones that had to maintain. We were the ones that had to try to keep the families together. We were the ones that had to try to keep the babies together. We need your help. We need your help and we need your protection. We need you to care. We need you to care and we need you to understand that just as broken as you are, we're broken as well. And we all need to come together to heal each other, to uphold each other, to support each other, to be there for each other. Until we can get back to the black community that we once were, as far as how we related to each other and how we cared for each other and how we looked out for each other. But this explains white supremacists, the whole scheme and the whole agenda and the whole plan of white supremacy to keep this wedge all the time between the black man and the black woman, to keep the black man and the black woman separated all the time, to keep us at odds with each other all the time. That's the reason why the music moguls spend so much money promoting that type of music, that negatively stereotypes both black men and black women, and puts black women and black men at odds with each other all the time in the music. The images that we see on TV, the images that we see in the movies, it usually shows black men and black women at odds with each other, just like that Harriet movie. The only villain that you have in the movie, the only actual villain that you have in the movie was Bigger Long, a made up, make believe black bounty hunter that was only interested in killing and harming black women so he could make money to buy white women. Or white women and girls sold into sex trafficking and all, of course. But you hear about that all the time on the news. They talk about that all the time. That's the reason why human trafficking and sex trafficking has garnered so much attention in the last 5-10 years. It's because the number of white women and white girls that are involved in it. But very seldom do you hear anybody mention anything about the black women and the black girls. And you certainly, I'm sure most of you didn't know that 75,000 of us have gone missing. But we got to do better. We got to look after each other. We got to take care of each other. We've got to learn to respect. First of all, we've got to get back to that place where we have self-respect. Self-respect will keep you from taking somebody's money just to promote a negative stereotype to your own people about your own people. See, again, the key thing is we got to get rid of these coons and these bootlicks and these black puppets and these black faces of white supremacy. We got to get rid of these sellouts. We got to get rid of these black folks that's willing to do anything for a bag. Because they promote all of this mess, all of this trash, all of this deviancy, all of this foolishness to our people. So we got to get our self-respect up. Women, we've got to get our black women, we've got to get our self-respect up, our self-confidence. Realize that we are queens. Realize that we don't need to go out and do things to draw attention to ourselves. When we are in our natural element, when we are naturally beautiful, when we are naturally confident and comfortable with ourselves and comfortable in the skin that we're in, we'll draw attention and we'll draw positive attention. But when you out there looking for attention, you draw the kind of attention that might cause you to become a part of this statistic. See, self-respect. We got to get our self-respect up. Then once we get to that point where we respect ourselves, then we can respect one another. Then we can look after each other. We can protect each other. We can care for each other. We got to. That's 75,000 black women and girls that are missing, so they won't have babies. If they're somewhere dead, or if they're somewhere, a part of the whole sex trafficking scheme, and they become a part of that world, that's probably 75,000 that won't ever give birth. They won't procreate. They won't create any more blackness. And that's what the dominant society cares about, survival, because they know that their time is running out. So that's 75,000 less black folk. That's if each one of those women and girls, 75,000 had a baby. That's 75,000 babies that you won't see. Black babies that you won't see. And they want to replace those 75,000 women with 75,000 men trying to be women. Come on, y'all, put the pieces of the puzzle together. And understand, this is survival of the fittest. If we don't get it together, we're not going to survive. We are not going to survive because they are trying to wipe us out in every possible way. Economically, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, they are trying to wipe us out. They want to get the boys effeminated and into the LGBTQ and all of that while they still little boys, so you ain't got to worry about them procreating because they men too busy running around trying to find another man. While over here on the other hand, they snatching up all the young girls. And as long as the black woman continues to be the most disrespected, the most unprotected, and the most neglected person in America, then this will continue to happen. And that number will continue to grow. So I just wanted to bring you this piece. I just, I heard about it, and there's some people talking to, and I've heard some people say, why isn't this being talked about and all of that. And I felt a responsibility to bring it to you, so that we can start some kind of conversation. And hopefully, since mainstream media isn't talking about it, hopefully more people in the new black media and on YouTube and other platforms, we'll begin to talk about it and we'll begin to research it and we can get this conversation going and we can start, trying to come up with some solutions, maybe we can get in communities and communities can do some kind of community watch thing where, we have certain people that are out with the girls at the bus stop, when they're going to school, when they're getting on the bus and when they're getting off the bus, maybe black women will get back to doing what they used to do, which is 5 or 6 of them going out, and the 5 or 6 making sure, okay, well, the 5 or 6 of us went out together, the 5 or 6 of us are going to go home together. That type of thing. You've got to get your eyes and your ears out of these phones and pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay, in these parking lots, pay attention to where you park your car. Pay attention to anybody that may look suspicious around you or anybody that may seem to be following you or whatever. Women, make sure that you look in the back seat of your car, even bend down and look up under your car, because there was one time they said they had them where they were climbing up under these women's cars, and then when the women stop somewhere, they jump out from up under the car and jump in the car. They say now that they're leaving all kinds of little things and stuff on your windshields and stuff, and then you get out to move the stuff off your windshield, and somebody grabs you from behind, and they're sticking women and injecting them with stuff, and you parked in a parking lot. And when you parked to get out to go to the Walmart or to go to the grocery store or whatever, there was a car parked beside you. When you come back to get back in your car, there's a van parked beside you. Watch those vans. They say they're jumping out of vans, injecting women and kidnapping them. These children are so focused on these cell phones and all of this kind of stuff until they're not paying attention to what's going on around them, and they walk into bus stops and they walk in different places and this kind of thing, and because they're not paying attention, folks is walking up behind them and just snatching them, and we've got to pay attention. We've got to be more aware. We have got to get our eyes, our ears, and our minds out of these cell phones. Instagram, Snapchat. Well, I don't know whether Snapchat is still a big thing or whatever, but Instagram, listening to all of this music on our phones and everything, and it's constantly walking around with earphones and earbuds in our ears and all of this kind of stuff, and you can't hear what's going on around you. We got to pay attention. We got to help each other, and we've got to help ourselves. We've got to pay attention. Women, if you have daughters, if you have nieces, if you have friends that have younger, tell them, get your mind out of all of that and pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to what's going on. If it's possible to take them to the bus stop and stay at the bus stop with them until they get off on the bus, or have somebody waiting on them when they get off the bus. Never go anywhere without your parents knowing where you are. If it's a bunch of girls that's going to be together and y'all going to walk somewhere, to a store, to a movie, or to a mall or whatever, if all of y'all going together, it needs to be 4 or 5 of you. If all of y'all going together, you need to go together. You need to stay together while you're there, and you need to go back where you came from together. No separating and this one going off here and this one going off because there's a little cute boy she saw over here, or this one trying to sneak off with somebody that she met on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, because you don't know what you're running into. So we have really, really, really got to pay attention. And since it's obvious that mainstream media doesn't care, it's obvious that the dominant society doesn't care. Why? Because the dominant society is probably behind all of this. Some people in some high places know about all of this stuff. All this sex trafficking and all this kind of stuff going on. All of this stuff that goes on in America, a lot of this stuff could be stopped if the government wanted it stopped. But sex trafficking, human trafficking, organ trafficking, all of that stuff is big money. So it's not like the National Guard gonna come in and protect us. We have got to protect ourselves. We have got to protect ourselves. We have got to protect each other. And the first line to protecting ourselves is being aware of our surroundings at all times. The holiday season is coming up. Women do a whole lot of shopping. Sometimes by themselves, other times with their kids. If you got to go shop by yourself, and you got to do it at night, do it somewhere where it's well lit. And when you walk out, make sure you walk out with a crowd of people. And you looking in the back seat of your car before you get in. You going and you looking up under your car before you get in. Well lit areas. Don't park nowhere in the dark. Women that get off work at night. You understand what I'm saying? Get 2 or 3 co-workers to walk to them cars with you. Boyfriends, husbands. You know what I'm saying? If it's possible and if it's necessary, but be sitting out there. Even if she drive her own car, be sitting out there. So you can watch her get in the car and make sure that she all right, and follow her home. And that way you know that nobody else is following her. See, these are just some solutions. Parents, if you don't know where your daughters are going, and you don't know where your daughter's going, and you don't know who she's going to be around, then don't let her go. She can get as offended and as upset as she wants to. But if we don't stand up and do something about this now, if we don't stand up and report it, if we don't stand up and talk about it, if we don't make this a part of the conversation, yes, this is a part of Black empowerment as well. Because you can't have real Black empowerment when on one hand, all your Black men are over here either being killed or murdered in the street by police officers, or being buck broken and effeminated and turned into little sissies. And then over here on the other hand, your women just disappearing. Black empowerment ain't gonna do much good if you ain't got no Black people to empower. War has been waged on us on all fronts. We got to pay attention. We got to understand that we are at war, that this is wartime. And these are war tactics. So all this running around with your head stuck in the sand, trying to act like everything is all right, and trying to act like, well, as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, and as long as I don't kick up no trouble and I don't do nothing, everything will be all right. No, it won't be. You're Black. That's enough to make you a target. You ain't gotta be doing nothing else but be Black. That makes you a target. That puts a bull's head on your back. So pay attention. Like I said, holiday season coming up. You know what I'm saying? Women got to go, to the grocery store and to Walmart and all these different places to do their shopping for Thanksgiving and the Black Friday. Okay, well, then 2 or 3 women get together and go. 3, 4 women get together and go carpool or whatever. I know how much some Black men hate to go to the grocery store. Cause it take us forever in the grocery store. Go to the grocery store with her anyway, and just sit in the car. Because just your presence is enough to deter anybody that had any kind of suspect shady mess on their mind. Just your presence is enough to deter them. So go whether you want to go or not, and just go sit in the car. It's better for you to be mad at her than running around looking for her because she done went missing. Because somebody done snatched her up. But like I said, I just wanted to bring this. I wanted to bring the conversation. I felt like it was really moving me, and it was something that I felt like I had to do. I will leave the link to this Yahoo article where they talk about Malcolm X, and I will also leave a link to the article in Afro that was done in 2016. But I will leave these links in the description box. But we need to have this conversation. We really need to start having this conversation, and we really need to start paying attention, and we really need to join forces. We really, really need to join forces, because the mothers, the daughters, the grandmothers, the nieces, the aunts, they snatching them up, snatching them off the street. In their prime, they snatching them. So, we got to stop that number from getting any higher. We got to stop that number from becoming 80,000, 85,000. We got to stop it. And we are the only ones that's going to stop it, because ain't nobody else going to stop it. Because like I said, the powers that be are probably behind all of this. So they certainly not going to stop it. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. Hit that notification bell if you want to be notified when we upload videos. Of course, the PayPal link will be there if you want to support the channel. But please support the channel with your likes, your comments, and let's have a conversation about this. Let's share this. Let's talk about this at home, among your family members, at school, your friends, and let's do what we need to do to keep this number from growing. And you guys have a good night.